Hello everyone. Hopefully this is the good attempt because I have tried to record this twice and the sound mixing is just, wrecking my my voiceover. So yeah, um, pretty excited to do this though. A little bit exhausted from, doing all of the skills. Took me a lot longer than I intended, so that's it's a bad omen on the project. We're gonna have to make up time. We'll see what we can do. In these next videos, we're going to be showcasing the abilities that I have coded in for our characters. Basically, all of them are already coded in. Um, it's just a matter of, when I'm going to be, whenever I'm going to have time to put these videos together. So we're going to just do one by one. A couple disclaimers before we start. This is not yet in the balancing phase, which means this video is merely to show the mechanical aspects of the skills. There are no blood costs so far. There are no numbers tuning. There's some preliminary numbers tuning, but not enough to make it like an actual battle tester, right? So that's the first one. The other one is there's going to be more than what you see here. We're only going to see disciplines, but there's also going to be melee attacks. There's going to be guns, which are not implemented into the game. Um, so that's something good. And what else? I had something else in mind. I think that is it. So we can pretty much get started. We're gonna start with oh yeah, I remember now. Lastly, the running directive of this project is basically any one of your characters is able to fulfill any role. So if you see our Samedi girl right here, yeah, she should be able to tank, she should be able to heal, she should be able to magical DPS, and she should be able to melee DPS to a lesser or greater degree than other characters, of course. There's going to be advantages, disadvantages based on the skill trees that they have available to them, but I kind of want to blur that line because that's something that I've always wanted from an RPG. So it could be kind of like a focal point of the what just basically something that draws players in. So okay, let's get going. We're going to start with our Samedi disciplines, and just gonna go through them really quick. About the sprites before we start, these three sprites down here are the ones that we're gonna be using. This little mofo over here, he's just like default graphic, so don't pay attention to him. He's just here for demonstration purposes. Right then. As Samedi, we have access to three trees. We have access to Oblivion, Fortitude, and Auspex. So we're going to start off with Fortitude, Oblivion then, which is probably my favorite one. First, we got Ashes to Ashes. The initials right here are going to tell you, they're going to be color-coded later. They're going to tell you what kind of stat this skill base is off of. So it's something that pisses me off in RPGs is, you're leveling your skills, you're learning new stuff, and then you have to kind of like go into the math of the game or go in, to the forums and see, hey, so, how do I build my character to, be really good with this skill? And that's really annoying. So I'm just gonna put, right there on the screen what stat you can max out to make this skill more effective. In this case, it's Aggravated Attack, which is magic damage, basically. Okay, this one's gonna deal fire damage to a single enemy, so just check that real quick. Okay, nothing special. But then if I use it on a corpse, it's going to instantly kill it. So that's why this guy is here. The only reason he's here is to be killed. So I'm gonna cast it on him again, and he just gets dumpstered, right? So we're gonna wait for them to finish their goddamn animations. I wouldn't have it here if I didn't need the debuffs, because I need the debuffs for a demonstration later on. So we're just gonna wait on that. Okay. Next we have our single target skill for Oblivion. Touch of Oblivion deals supernatural damage to a single enemy. Blood cost is refunded if it kills the target. Because we don't have mana costs here. I mean, we have them implemented. We just set them to 0 for demonstration. We're not going to be seeing it kill anything. So just imagine it's going to do heavy damage at a heavy blood cost, and if you manage to kill the target with it, it's going to refund the blood cost. So it's pretty good for finishing opponents off. This guy was about to die, cast it on him, he gets dumpstered, and then we get our mana or blood resource back. do another without doing. Okay. Some skills like this one have a direct upgrade. In the case of this one, we got Withering Spirit. It does exactly the same thing, but in addition to that, it's going to inflict a random ailment. So the selection of ailments that you have available is gonna be he can be stunned, he can be paralyzed, he can be unable to use disciplines, he can be blind, things like that. And it's gonna choose one of them. So let's see if we can finish this guy off actually. Okay, he's dead. That's gonna help us with the damage. So we didn't see the the debuff on him. We can just cast it on this next guy if we want to. We're pretty much safe now. When there's two of them, they can't really kill you. Because, as I told you, I've recorded this 2 times. Okay, there we go. So it inflicted blind on him, right? Now, wait for them to finish so I can heal up. Okay, let's just heal up real quick. And while we do that, we can talk about guns. Guns are going to be very similar to what you're seeing. It's mechanically they're going to work very similarly. It's just going to be an aesthetic change, and they're going to do different type of damage called ballistic. So they're going to be functioning as skills that cost ammunition, but it's basically the same thing you're seeing right here. All right, let's continue. Single target spells done. AoE. This is a basic AoE. It's going to deal supernatural damage to all enemies. Beautiful. Okay, nothing special. It just does damage to all enemies, which is, thinking can be handy in some cases. Depends on how you want to build your stuff. We can still sign up for another one. Okay, and its direct upgrade is this one, Staging Shrouds. It does exactly the same thing, but at the same time, it's going to have a 50% chance to inflict blind. Let's take a look at that real quick. Nice. They're both blinded. That's not gonna help me, I think, because these are magic attacks. So yeah. Shit, if I die, I have to restart. So let's see if I don't. There we go. Okay, heal back up. Also, you might see like a crap load of abilities that you were able to select. That's not gonna be the case. I'm gonna give you access to about half of these abilities through experience points and the like. So it's not gonna look as bad as it used to. Again, demonstration purposes. Right, let's continue. The last skill of Oblivion is your AoE dot, Necrotic Plague. It's going to deal chemical damage in an area, and it's going to inflict poison on all enemies hit. My idea with chemical damage is that it's very hard to come by, so you apply it through your poison, you apply it maybe through like a biochemical grenade or some crap like that, and it's, you can count the sources of chemical damage with the finger. You know what I mean. I'm fucking exhausted. Whatever. So this is going to be an AoE. We are not able to showcase it here because I killed the other guy like a dumbass. But if I select this girl, it only selects her. But if I go to this guy, it would also touch the head of the other guy, so it would actually cast this on both of them. If you're paying attention, this is what the guys in front have been casting on the whole time. Alright, we're gonna finish their stuff. We might have to heal. All of these icons as well are temporary, so this is something that I think I can get done right one day. There's a very good editor by Yamfly. Also, shout out to Yamfly if you're part of the RPG making community. Most of the stuff implemented here is variations or modifications on stuff he has done in the past. So that was really cool. It saved a lot of time. And it's made the combat more interesting, I would imagine. So that is it for Oblivion. Let's head on over to our tanking tree, which is Fortitude. The first one's pretty easy. The Phi Bane is going to increase aggravated defense by 50%. So it's going to reduce the damage we take. What kind of damage? Damage with guns, damage with disciplines, and damage with fire. Exactly. Chemicals, that kind of stuff. All of the aggravated damage that we would receive during the game, not melee attacks. It's not going to do anything against that. So pretty easy to figure out, right? Nothing complicated. This one's pretty cool. Flesh of Marble. It's going to add Flesh of Marble and taunt to the target. Flesh of Marble blocks damage up to a cap of 3 hits, whichever happens first. So it's basically an HP shield that can be popped if I get attacked enough. And then the other effect, Taunt, is just going to draw enemies to that particular character. We can't showcase Taunt here because, well, it's only this girl. In the perfect world, you would have all enemies focus on her. So right now they're gonna try to attack her, and it's gonna block damage. And blocks 30 damage, has 2 hits left. It's gonna be a set number, a set amount of damage. In this case, it has 57 damage left, or if that doesn't happen, it's gonna last 3 hits, whichever happens first. And then the last one we have is this one, Fortified the Inner Facade, which is kind of like a support ability for casters. What it does is it adds Mystique to the target, so I cast it on myself because it's the only one I have. And what Mystique does is it's going to boost the next magic skill. Keep saying magic, it's going to be aggravated, don't worry about that. And keep it in 10 with a non-10 cooperation with the lore, so. But yeah, obviously you're not gonna have this little ball of yarn as an icon. I hope not. So yeah, the next magic attack that I cast, do Withering Spirit on this asshole right here, is gonna do double damage, and then it's gonna take away. So yeah, he just got wrecked, and my buff is gone because it's only for the next spell. It's also going to reduce the cost of damage, the cost of blood of that ability by to 0. So this is something that we can use to cheese like really expensive spells that do a lot of damage. Let me just do it once more while I'm talking. So you got like this really expensive skill that does a shitload of damage. You just put Mystique on one of your dudes, they cast it, and they basically got it for free. So that could have a lot of strategic implications. That is it for the Fortitude tree, because the rest of them are probably going to be passives. That's kind of boring, maybe, I don't know, but it's still like a JRPG kind of stuff, so not everything is easy to implement, from a design standpoint. So I think we're gonna have fun with Fortitude still, because later on you can spec into Fortitude further, and you can cast all of this onto your allies. So it's not only like, oh, I'm specking into Fortitude to tank, it's also, oh, I'm specking into Fortitude so I can have another guy tank, or so I can help another guy tank. So I think that could be cool. Let's move on to all specs. We start with 2 premonitions, premonition ally and premonition enemy. Heals an ally for a moderate amount after a short delay. Heals faster if used on its own. So I'm gonna cast it on myself, and it's gonna put a little icon on my head. That one, right? Just tick from 2 to 1. When I take my next action, that thing is gonna pop and it's gonna heal. And I can use this next action to use the one for enemy. So I'm gonna cast it on her, and it's gonna be the same thing. She's gonna get a little, icon on her head. Mine just popped, so I got healed. And when she takes her next action, when she finishes taking her next action, that thing is gonna pop and it's gonna throw a rock in her at her face. So, wrecked. Right? So those are the 2 premonitions. This one we can't showcase yet. It's called Share the Senses, and it evens out and redistributes the whole party's HP. Let's say one of your dudes is really beat up, the other ones are at full health. You kind of want to even things out. You cast this, probably a really high cost, high-ish cooldown to balance it. You cast this, and instantly all your HP is evened out and redistributed. Think about it like a spirit link from World of Warcraft, if you're familiar with that. And then the last one is Telepathy, which basically deals aggravated damage, supernatural in this case, to a single enemy, and it's going to inflict Foresight. We're not going to be able to see Foresight in action because we're the only member of the team. It's a debuff. Oh, we actually are going to see it. Let's hope we don't kill it. An attack shouldn't kill it. Whenever I attack someone with this icon on, they're going to automatically receive a crit. So, hit it. Sucks. Okay, let's just start over again. Shouldn't take too long. Just give me a second here. Unfortunate. Okay, it's like a Super Saiyan. I didn't, pace myself, didn't measure, control my powers. Anyways, so yeah, it's gonna, basically, whenever they have that debuff on them, they're gonna be crit by melee skills or physical skills. So it'll only last for one turn, so you can lay it on a very slow character like a boss, for example, and then you can focus all your party's damage on that for that one turn, just like bam, 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 crit, 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 do a lot of damage, and then it wears off. So I think it opens the gate for a lot of strategic opportunities. We'll see. Finally, that's it for Auspex. And then finally we got our Amalgams. In the case of our Hecata Samedi, we got 3 of them. Valeran, OBA, or OB, and Fatal Recognition. So Valeran is a pretty straightforward AoE heal. I'm gonna sacrifice my own blood, or my own, in this case, my own health. I'm gonna sacrifice my own vitality to heal the entire party. So I'm gonna spend 32 health points, and I'm gonna heal the party for 32. You're not gonna see it here. I'm just gonna, take that damage and then heal myself with that damage. They're pointless. But you can see the applications in the party center, right? This one we can't showcase because we need some debuffs on ourselves. That's why we got these guys casting spells. But unfortunately they died, so we couldn't test the last time. So maybe we'll start with this one. Fatal Recognition. Adds Fatal Recognition to the target. Fatal Recognition marks a single enemy for attack and deals damage after a delay based on damage received. If you play League of Legends, this is basically Zed's death mark. We're gonna put it on an enemy, we're gonna put it on this guy. And then we're gonna relentlessly attack that enemy. And when this mark pops, it's going to deal damage equal to, I believe, 30% of the damage we inflicted during the duration. So let's see if we can put some damage in there. As soon as they finish casting their shit. Alright. So we're just gonna we're just gonna do damage. Is the guy that has it? We're just gonna, oh, we missed. Well, that sucks. Let's hope we get up next hit. More. Okay. Okay, we'll just we'll do it again, and we'll cast the spell this time, so there's no chance to miss that. Anyways, just you can imagine it. It's gonna see, there's the animation. It did 0 damage because 30% of 0 is 0. So let's say we did 60 damage to the enemy during the duration of that mark. It's going to copy 30%. So at the end of that effect, it's going to add another 20 damage. It's gonna explode for 20 damage. So, and that's just another opportunity to funnel your damage, all your damage into one single enemy and do a lot. So, see how that pans out. Finally, let's talk about this one, OBA, whatever. You probably saw me using it a lot in the, before we restarted. It heals the target incrementally for each status effect present, and then it clears all negative effects. So, right now, I have 2 debuffs or states, negative states on myself. So it's going to multiply the healing amount by 2. If I only had 1, let's say it heals for 80. So because I have 2, it's going to heal for 160. And it's going to remove all my negative states, negative effects. What's good about this is pretty simple. I can cheese the mechanic and I can stack because it calculates buffs and debuffs, or positive and negative effects. So I can just stack shit on one of my characters, and then just do like this massive heal on them for more than 2 times their health because they have all this debuff, all these states on them. So it probably has to be balanced, obviously. But also on top of that, if you see, I'm going to clear all my negative effects. So right now I'm poisoned. I'm gonna use OB on myself. I'm gonna get healed, and the poison's gonna be gone. Boom, just like that. Beautifully done. And yeah, talking about heals and the spells, I'm going to be limiting that a little bit. If the heals are too strong, I don't want it to feel, where you can spec into a healing tree and just cheese the entire game because you can just out heal anything they throw at you. So first, the reaction is gonna be we're gonna nerf healing, right? Second reaction is going to be we're going to add cooldowns or increased cost to the healing abilities, the dispel abilities, kind of like to balance that out. As I mentioned before, we're not in balance phase yet, so that's yeah, that's gonna come when it comes. So those are the disciplines for our Samedi girl right here. No, all of the trees that she has available. Again, she's gonna have a couple of passive abilities on top of these, but like I said, you only have access to around half of these, depending on how you spec. So maybe even less than that. So if this looks bloated, that's because it is. It's just for demonstration. But once you get into the actual game, you should see something pretty much like this. You know, just about 8 or 7 skills. And also all of these skills that are upgrades. So for example, like these two, you're gonna lose the previous one when you get the new one. So that's also gonna be this one. As for the enemies, they're not all gonna be casting. You know, that's just for demonstration purposes. You're gonna be shooting, gonna be attacking you, so battle is gonna flow a little faster as well. It's not gonna be as bloated or intrusive as you can see here. And that is that. The next videos are going to be shorter because, well, I already laid a lot of stuff out on this one, and also some of the disciplines repeat, which is something baked into the game. It's not oversight. It's just so you can build your character the way you want. Because of the nature of Vampire the Masquerade and the clans, some of the disciplines, they just overlap. You can do about it. So rather than cut one of them, I just decided to go with it and just add little tweaks here and there to differentiate each character. But yeah, the fantasy is that you can do whatever you want with either of your characters. This girl can be a tank, she can be a healer, she can be a DPS. It doesn't matter. You can build your party however you want. That is a fantasy at least. I will be posting, the rest of these videos for all the other 3 characters later on, probably in the next couple days. But now, well, first of all, I'm gonna go to bed. Second of all, I'm going to start. I'm gonna stop editing, skills, designing, programming, that kind of shit, and I'm going to start focusing on writing the story because I took way longer than I should have with this, and I need to catch up. I need a story. If I don't write a story, if I don't write a progression, if I don't design levels, we don't have a game where we can put all of these beautiful mechanics in. So that's gonna be what is gonna occupy my time next weekend and the first half of next week. Second half of next week, if the internet is a generous god, we're gonna be polishing everything up, getting some voiceover for the intro lines, doing our art, stuff like that, and hopefully, if everything aligns perfectly, we can finish on time. But yeah, all of this is already designed, so that's a very exciting step. All we have to do is find the time to do these videos so we can showcase it. If you enjoyed, well, thank you very much for putting up with me. I know I tend to rant about stupid things a lot, so these videos are probably longer than they should. But thank you, anyways. And if you're still interested, I will see you on the next one. So thank you. Bye bye.